Hey, everybody. It is your girl, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Ava Cherie, the Inspire. And I'm just coming today because I wanted to have a transparent moment. I was discussing so much about mental health wellness and preventative measures and, just taking a look at your inside out and how our inside thoughts about ourselves reflect our outside feelings about ourselves and how we move in our actions. I don't usually talk about death and celebrity death or highlight it or spotlight it unless I hear first in my spirit or I see a trend that can help people take a different look at things. And if my spirit tells me that people are screaming out for help as a result of a celebrity passing. So let's talk about mental health and plastic surgery, thoughts about ourselves, body shaming, and social trends. Now, this beautiful young lady, smart, wonderful young lady and family, she's yet another one who has tragically succumbed to some sort of injury after or post surgery, no matter what surgical procedure it is. I'm going to talk about myself. And I do know several people who have gotten procedures successfully. I also know people who have gotten surgeries and have never talked about the bad parts about it and what they were really going through in their home as a result of getting the surgery. I also know people who've gotten surgeries and it did not help how they felt internally about themselves, or they didn't get the outcome that they thought they would. So I don't have an issue with it, but let me say this. I have 4 adult children. I was a teen mom. After giving birth to every child, my last child was born in 93. I left the hospital weighing 127 every time. This was pre-social media. Nobody could be in your business but the people that was live and in living color that was around you. Hopefully they were supporters. It was to the point where I would have a child and the nurses would come in and ask, was I visiting or where was the girl that had the baby? Because I never looked like I had just given birth. It wasn't until after I was well in my 40s that I got my adult weight. Now, the thing with me was, coming from the Midwest, I wanted to have the Coke-shaped bottle, a figure, because that's what I grew up seeing. For most of my life, as a young girl, that appeared to be the most desirable shape. I used to double pad my clothes. If the clothes were baggy, I learned how to hand stitch my clothes tighter so that I can appear to be a little bit more thick. I was heavy chested, so I wasn't concerned about that, but that wasn't getting the attention. Even though I looked good, won pageants and everything, where the attention was going was the Coke-shaped bottles, right? So I was like, dang, we call them Amazons back home. So I'm like, dang, why I ain't come out like that? My mother was nice. She's 5'1", 5'2". She's bow-legged. She's thick. Coke bottle. My dad was tall frame. I took my father's shape. He didn't gain weight till after his 50s. Oh, what a blessing it turns out to be, because I've lived now long enough to know that that was actually a blessing and not a curse. So I'm just trying to frame it with the mindset of whether it's social media, we're watching other people do things, or whether it's live and in living color. It's more so about the popularity. And then when you take the layer off being popular or desiring certain attention, then it becomes an internal issue. And that's what I was talking about on the previous vlog about mental health wellness. We have to learn earlier in life that when something makes us feel unapproved and we start to disapprove of ourselves, we have to learn a form of reaching out to seek help or communicating that with our caregivers at early ages. I now have 6 grandchildren. My adult children, I have 3 boys and 1 daughter. My daughter does not have any children. However, because she is 32, she just in her teens grew up with social media. We all transitioned together, and she never had an image per se issue because she gets so many compliments. But even with that, knowing that everywhere you go, you're pretty, everybody stops you. But it doesn't mean that you don't have some type of internal conflict or void. And no matter to this day, wherever my daughter goes, I know all of us think our children are beautiful. But I bear witness to her being stopped from everywhere in the world. And my focus as a child for her, I stopped calling her pretty early. I didn't call her ugly. I just stopped emphasizing her beauty to her because she was uniquely beautiful. Like I said, I've won pageants. I've seen many of beautiful people. My focus as her mother, not having any training or mentor, not seeing it in my family, because I was the only girl until my daughter was born. Something clicked for me to say, work on her internal beauty first. So at a young age, her being my only daughter, I was like, I'm not going to call her cute no more. I'm not going to call her pretty, because if she opens her mouth and has an ugly disposition or attitude, it's going to cancel out her external beauty. And I never liked girls who thought they was so cute that they can have bad attitudes. I was about to say something else, that they can have bad attitudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, because you think your pedestal is so big that you could talk down to people because of how you think you look. And I went through that. So maybe that's why I raised my daughter with those concepts. Like, I'm not going to emphasize and keep telling you, because the world is going to continue to tell you you're beautiful. With your God beauty, it's resounding in any atmosphere you go in. But I want, when you open your mouth, that there's something going on in here, but more importantly, something going on in here. I know too many good fly women, and when they open their mouth, or they can't even hold a conversation, when they enter a room, their attitude's so bad, don't nobody even want to deal with you, no matter what you looking like. And if you that kind of woman, only people that want to deal with you is because of what you looking like. The minute you try to have a conversation, they ain't going to respect what's coming out your mouth because it's so nasty. Your attitude is nasty because of how you think you look. You're superior. So, in talking about mental health wellness, even the best of us and the people we look up to have had some sort of battle. And as I come and be transparent, in my late 40s, by between 43, 47, I was heavy on, I'm getting a surgery. I'm going to get a BBL. I didn't want a bigger butt. I just got into that age where my metabolism slowed down. And because I never got over 130 pounds, once I got over 150, 165, that is the grown woman weight that I thought I wanted. But then I had external factors going on. I had just gotten married at 40 for the first time. I had all these things. I had just became an entrepreneur and working for myself in the same year. Like, all of these external factors influenced how I felt about myself, how I internalized things. I wasn't moving as much as I used to. I was on the go with those 4 children. Grad school, working full time, plus traveling, plus taking care of them everywhere I needed to be. 4 kids in sports, 1 daughter in Girl Scouts. Like, I was all over, and I was active, and my metabolism played heavily on my side. But at 40, I'm thinking, because that's all I had known, when this thing started to slowly, progressively start to put weight on me, I was like, what is going on? But one thing for sure I can tell you comforted that weight was stress. Stress, poor eating habits, and I never slept. I was transitioning physiologically with my age, and I was still at a comfortable mindset of where I used to be. And so when I started gaining a little weight, it was cute. But then when I couldn't fit clothes and I didn't know how to carry the weight, I was just like, what is this? I've never gotten past a size 8. Like, what is a 10? Then I didn't go over a 10, but I was uncomfortable. And then it started to affect my mobility. And then these health issues started coming up. And I'm like, I didn't have 4 kids, ran track, did this, did that, did. What is going on? So still not cognizant, because I didn't have the education awareness of what the stress was doing to me. I didn't have the education about diet and nutrition. I didn't have the knowledge to slow down. Even though I was doing all these amazing, smart things, I didn't slow down because I was used to the old A. Like Avis had figured it out, but I had not realized I had transitioned into another gap of age, and my body was transitioning. My body is now telling me, slow down. I did all that grind work for you. Now you got to appreciate me because I'm slowing down. Take care of your heart. Take care of your lungs. But more importantly, take care of your mind. I thought having 4 kids was big, but I had taken on something I had never taken on. Again, I was married at 40 for the first time. So leaving the workforce that I loved, that I had been in for 23 years, being in the house, working from home, not leaving all day, not knowing about calcium and vitamin D deficiency, right? All of these things I never would have got tested for because they were never an issue for me. Never, never, never an issue. I'm thankful that I don't get caught up on things that I see on social media because I lived through the 90s and I lived through a popping time where we were survivors. I didn't have anything to click on and measure where I was or was not. I didn't have anything that I needed to feel I needed to be in a thing to get the attention. I was never an attention seeker. However, I did consider getting a BBL for quite some time, at least over 2-year period. And I kept asking my husband, I kept telling my children, and my children are in their 20s and 30s. I'm like, you know, all these people doing it, and I know people my age doing it, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be straight up with you. I ignored the chronic migraine disease that I had. I ignored the neurological issues that I have. I ignored the fibromyalgia I had just got diagnosed with in 2015. I ignored all of these severe things. Okay? In 2015, I got a new nerve issue, and here I am thinking about going to get a darn surgery. Can you imagine the type of reaction my body could have had? I'm fighting with my husband. I'm trying to get him to understand and overstand why, whoop-de-whoop. I'm telling myself that the weight is making other health issues come up, and I'm trying to save my life and get just in a good space, not cosmetically fit where I can be out here showing my body. I'm trying to maintain my weight like I used to so I don't get, because I'm pre-diabetic now because I've never been overweight. I'm trying to maintain and not go over the 180, 190, 200 mark. I'm trying to make sure that I'm thinking and souping myself up to believe that I'm managing something that's out of control because of other factors, internal and environmental factors that had taken place that I wasn't coping and dealing with appropriately. Okay? I wasn't dealing with stress. I was stress eating. I was not sleeping, which means when you're bored, when you're up working, when you're manic, when you're anxious, you're going to grab sugar, you're going to grab soda, you're going to grab my favorite, which was Mike and Ike's. You're going to grab my other favorite, gummy worms. You're going to grab little tangible knickknacks so you don't make a bunch of noise and you just sit over there like a hamster in the corner like I used to and just eat your candy and think it's okay. It's just a little couple of worms here and there. Then, because I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating breakfast anymore. I wanted to sleep. I was dog tired. I was fatigued all the time. Not enough vitamins could do it. And then I'm supplementing my gallon of water with other stuff that had a lot of high sugar. I know this is a long and roundabout way. I'm giving you the full plate that I spoke about on my previous vlog, which I'll plug down here, which is about mental wellness and being truthful in the heart of a situation or a crisis that's going on. I'm sharing this with you because some people you don't even think are battling things because they appear to not have to battle or have a need to do anything or actually battling something. This string is irking me, guys, but so whatever. But I've fought hard. I've gotten 3 consultations based off recommendations from doctors and friends. I was flying out to Dr. Miami when he was popping. Thank God he was filming a show and it was a 1-year, 2-year waiting list. So I couldn't have went because if I'd have gone when I wanted to, I would have had it. And I don't know if I would be sitting here. And this was all after 2015, having a diagnosis of chronic migraines and fibromyalgia. So just think of what my body is yelling to me to pay attention to, but I'm so self-absorbed with how my body has transitioned and physiologically done what it was supposed to do. What was happening was I wasn't doing the same thing I used to do. I wasn't on the move. I had reconfigured my life, my mind, worked from home, became an entrepreneur, published several books. I'm thinking I'm doing all the right things, but my body was not doing and getting what it needed to fuel me on this next leg of my life. My 40s was very, very challenging for me. It was challenging because physiologically, our bodies as women, we are different. And if you've been a mother all your life, like I have, you're now understanding your children may be adults now. They don't need you as much. What you were focused on, now you have to focus on you. And then that's something I had never done. I never just focused on myself. If you would have asked me, what do you want to do now? I wouldn't have known, because I never even went to God in prayer and asked for things for myself. I always asked for things for other people. I thought as a servant and my gifts was for other people. I never knew how to ask until recent. Ask God for things for myself. And that's because I wasn't taught. I was told that was vain or selfish. So I didn't do it. So in being transparent in relation to Miss Jackie O passing after or during or post plastic surgery, or BBL, whatever. One, I want to say I'm grateful that everyone who has gone through any kind of procedure, any kind, I'm thankful you're all here in present day to hear and gain knowledge and see other people's experiences. And I'm thankful that you made it through, you can weigh in. And the people that have had difficulties, we need to weigh in more. The people that have had bad issues or bad results or bad encounters with doctors, we need platforms for that. When we become so socially absorbed, sometimes there's internal conflict going on that we don't even want to focus on or listen to or yield to. And for me, I was going through so many traumatic experiences for I'm going to say 8 years straight. That, oh my God, I could never had imagined. I was going through so many traumatic experiences that I was just like, okay, I was strong enough to do the things in the past. Okay, you got me on this for a reason. But what I will say is it was causing trauma to myself. Sometimes I was punishing myself. Sometimes I was shaming myself. One of my sons always told me, keep walking, work out. And my daughter was like, you look normal because you've always been slim. For me, I didn't feel good about myself. And then I stopped dancing through all that trauma. I used to dance around the house for hours cleaning, and dancing is my mojo. As some of you know, last year I transitioned and went to school, an academy, and got certified as a DJ and entertainer. So now that I've been doing that, I practice for 3 to 4 hours, which means I sweat. I never used to sweat. People have asked me how I slimmed down. You look like the old Avis. And I'm like, I've been DJing. Even before I had gigs. I started DJ Academy in last June. I was conditioning myself, just like you can do when you work out. I started conditioning myself to stand for 4 hours at a time because I knew I had mobility issues from fibro and the TIAs, the mini strokes. So I started to transition. I usually don't even sit in this chair unless I'm doing a quick vlog. I like to stand. So as soon as I knew I was taking on DJing professionally, I started conditioning my body to stand for 4 hours at a time because I had been home writing books, doing speaking engagements. I couldn't wear heels for a long time. And I love heels more than sneakers. So I had to recondition my mindset and recondition my body and muscle memory to do these things in movement. And so since last June, to pass my test in class was no less than 4 hours of me practicing to stand as a DJ. And I started to slim down before I knew it. When I made it public that I had actually graduated and did really well, I made it public on social media in January 2023. From then, I've gotten gigs, but I didn't want to make it public until I thought I was ready. But just making it public and doing something I love requires now for me to be on. And anytime I post a DJ video, it's snippets of a 3 to 4 hour practice session at home. This is practice. Just like football players are practicing, this is honing your gift and getting where you need to be. And it's no less than working out. My daughter, who is like a size 4, she works out at a gym obsessively. She's committed herself to it. She has a target. She has a goal. That's what she's doing. And I get it. And so what I'm coming to say is, it wasn't until I replaced the stress, the worry, the trauma, the pain, restless nights, and it wasn't until I traded all of those things while shifting my mindset and my spiritual growth still developing. It wasn't until I shifted that into something that I love and enjoy that I started to heal, that I started to consume my time with great things to replace the not so good things. When I went to approach getting a BBL, it was absolutely because I did not like how I looked. It was absolutely because they told me all I can do was water aquatics, exercise. I could not go back to the gym where I used to love being in the gym. It was absolutely because of all these things that were happening in my environment that I was trying to hold tight to something of me, what I looked like. I wanted to love myself in the mirror. I wanted to see myself as how I feel about myself. I wanted that girl, that woman, that spirit inside of me to come back out on the outside of me. Because when I looked at myself sometime, I seen trauma, stress, sadness, grief, disgust, even hatefulness because of some things that happened. Then I started to pivot. Throughout the whole time, I'm going to my spiritual mom and dad. I'm seeking answers, right? And a lot of it has to do with toxic environments and things that we're engaged in and people that we're attached to. I started praying, and I still pray, but I still forgot one key element, and that was to ask for something for myself. Tell God what I needed to be healthy and well. I prayed about the situations just because they were traumatic to our family, but I didn't ask God to help rise me up out the ashes and be diligent about it every day. You understand what I'm saying? Not just a one-time prayer. I'm talking about I didn't get in that thing and wait to hear from God about how to pivot this thing that was spiraling out of control. True fact, fun fact. I have like 8,000 photos and videos that is syncing on my devices, right? That I can't stand, right? Today, I was deleting duplicates, deleting stuff I did not need that synced from my iCloud. And I started looking at 2015, 2016. And all these pictures came up that I hadn't seen since that time, right? I'm going to leave on this. Thank you, God. It feels like a good place to leave. And so I started going through it and I was like, who's that girl? Who's that girl? Oh, I know that trauma. I know that face. I know that pale skin. I know that dark skin. I know them grieving eyes. I know that sad smile. I know that soul is broken behind those eyes. Oh my God. And my spirit kept saying, you're seeing this for a reason. You've lived through this. Now you can get rid of it. You've been renewed. You've also been spared. I covered you when you were at your lowest points all of your life, not some of your life. And I started to be like, oh, I don't need to see these pictures because her and I don't relate no more. I need to delete. I'm deleting as quick as, honey, if I could have brought somebody in here and hired them to delete my pictures, I would have. I have to be also transparent. I'm in a fast right now. So I realized I'm super sensitive right now. And I was like, okay, I'm seeing this because now I got to pass the test of if I go back to that date, if I go back to that trauma, will I start to focus and give all my attention to the what was and not appreciate where I am right now? And that's when I was like, oh, devil, you a lie. I rebuke you. Delete, 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 because it takes a millisecond to go back there. As soon as you see yourself broken, as soon as you see yourself hurt, as soon as you can reflect on an image of you that you didn't like, it's so quick to go back there. And you be like, yep, that's what that person did to me. And that's what I was going through at that time. And that job did that day and they fired me. Or whoop, 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 my son, daughter, husband, father, mother, sister, brother, wife, they did something to me on that day. And I remember when I cut my hair. I remember that fight when I had that black eye. I remember this, that, and the third. Child, I deleted that stuff so fast. Didn't I? Because what sense did it make to repeat the offense? And another vlog I did was repeated offenses. When we continue to rehash and rehash and rehash, it's repeatedly offending us again and living in us. But on a spiritual level, the devil's like, oh, that's a portal. That's a gateway. That's a poke hole. I can slither my little sneaky stuff in there and have her or him tripping. Living right back in that trauma. Having that same reaction to that issue. That thing, that crisis, that pain. You'll react like you're in it present day. And for me, I can't go back. Because I know I didn't feel pretty. I know I didn't feel like I was more than enough. I know I didn't feel like I had a way out. And I can honestly say, when I was going to get my BBL, I was going to not divulge all my medical information. I did talk to my doctors and let them know I was considering it. They can't tell you no, but they can advise against it. And my rheumatologist, who found out after a year's worth of testing, said I might probably have this nerve condition called fibromyalgia. He was like, don't do that. You can barely walk on certain days. You can barely talk. You get 66 injections for Botox for migraines. You have nerve issues. Fibro turns your nerves against you. Where your nerves work on your behalf, fibro makes it fight you. Where you in chronic pain for 24 hours a day. Why would you go through something so excruciating to live in a body that's already traumatized? Woo, there we go. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's already traumatized. And I'm telling you, when I got my mind set on something, just like my goals, just like grad school, 3-4 degrees, just like a car, just like a house, just like anything that I touch, I had my mind fixated on going to get that daggone surgery, baby. You wasn't going to stop me. Because I felt like I had overcome so much that I was going to be spared. And all the red flags, God was going to come with me like he always does. All the breast cancer scares, the removing of cervical cancer. I am a survivor, baby. I have made it. I'm going to make it through this. And it wasn't until when I survived COVID, my husband and I. Body organs was shutting down. My husband, if he'd have gone to the hospital, he was one of those cases that was so severe he may not have come back out. He pleaded with me and made me promise him that I would not take him to the hospital. And I just said, I cannot make that call to your parents. You have to survive. And it was horrible. But it wasn't until that moment where I was like, this body is not my own. This temple is not mine. This life is not my own. I'm not going to add more pressure. Because God, you didn't let me fall. You kept me here. And by all means, everything by these hands and by my might, I'm going to remain here until you say it's time. Until you allow it to be my time. I'm not going to do something that I know is going to jeopardize all of this. And so much more that I have to do. And I'm not saying anybody knows that going into these surgeries. But what I can say about me is that I was going to lie or not answer, which is a lie. I wasn't going to fully tell them what all my medical conditions were. So I would be considered a good candidate. So all of that to say, I hope that anyone listening takes away that you are enough as well. I danced and practiced DJing since last June, 3 to 4 hours a day, not every day. I am back down. I'm 9 point something pounds down and 7 pounds away from my goal weight. That's all I've done. And I enjoy my life. It has also helped with stress. It has also helped with anxiety. I started meditating years ago, and sometimes I fall off and forget or get busy. But all of these things I did to enhance myself first, my internal. What was disrupting my spirit? And meditation was heavy for me during the times of trauma for the last 10 years. And so when I got heavy into that in the last few years, it was like, okay, I can leave here in a good space and be energized and feel more powerful and sit upright and take on and know that my armor is protecting and covering and guarding and guiding me so that I can slowly sift through the nonsense, weave out what's not mine, take full ownership and accountability for what is, and shake the dust off of the rest. And then I started DJ school, which I'm a music lover. So therefore, it was a no-brainer. It came in my life as a lifesaver, and it has done that. And it pours out so many good parts of me to other people when I DJ, just like when I have speaking engagements, just like when I get on here and do vlogs. It pours out of me. Also, when I was doing different vlogs with my braces, I was getting so much conversation and thanks for what I was sharing in my natural, just plain old Ava Cherie life. With my braces, I'm unashamed. People don't get up and show their teeth and them fixing them braces, and I had head wraps on and this, but I realized everything that I thought I was tripping off of, nobody else was. But I had started to do the internal work, and it's an ongoing work every day. Every day a challenge is going to be presented to see if you fail. People around you are going to be waiting to see if you slide back into your old self. People are going to be hoping and wishing, and some people praying that you break, that you'll also become their target so that they can figure out a way just to break you because they're miserable about something within themselves as well. And so when I show up, I always say I'm not going to speak just to be talking. This is ministry. This is my heart. And now that I've pivoted and can't be in person and don't work for anybody but myself, I still have those abundance of gifts to share with people, just like when I was on the job sharing it for a corporation, and half the corporations or the systems I worked for didn't care about the people for real, but they cared about the check. So that's what's so important to me about my vlogs. That's what's so important to me about my books. That's what's so important to me in top most priority, because every word I speak, I do not write it down. I'll get shaken out of my sleep. I'll roll over it. I'll put in my notes section what God gives me. And I'm like, give me clarity. And when I come before you with a word or a message, it is all from the Holy Spirit. And I know first that I'm in the front row seat taking notes when I speak, because I know it's not of me, it's of God. And I'm a student for life. I'm listening to what God is going to pour out of me for us. And so that's why I wanted to come today, because tragic stories like this hit home. And she's the same age as my daughter. And I know it's hitting home to a lot of millennials and the generations before and after. I don't know who they are. I don't know the name for them, but they grew up on social media. And so that's all they're absorbed with right now. Tragedies around them all over the place every day. And so I wanted to make something else just as popular in the heart of a crisis, and just be yourself and share your experiences, and also share some techniques and resolutions, which is deal with the things that are internally troubling you, whether it's environmental, whether it's things troubling yourself, whether you're a cutter, whether you're a pill popper, whether you're addicted to a substance or alcohol and substance abuse, whatever it is, take those mediating factors and deal with the mitigating factor. Start to peel back the layers and find out what it is. When you get rid of the things that are troubling you, that are aiding you during your pain as a Band-Aid, you'll start to see the new and renewed you come out of the ashes and rise up to the occasion, because we're killing ourselves with the things that are covering the true issues, the underlying issues. All right. I'll be back, I'm sure. I feel like it is only the beginning of this mental wellness, and I'll be back as God leads me. God's best to you, God's healing to you, God's speed to you, and God's love to you. This is your girl, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Ava Cherie, the Inspire. Be well, you guys, and give each other a hug and make yourself a priority. Get help on whatever is troubling you. All right? Till next time.